right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Out to Lunch with WRMN AM 1410, broadcasting live here from Studio 14, serving you, the Fox River Valley area. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today and being a part of the conversation. You are listening to the Voice of the Valley, Talk of the Town, home of the Chicago White Sox, and we are serving you, the Fox River Valley area. Remember, we are on YouTube, youtube.com at WRMN Radio. Don't forget, of course, you can hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so that you can always keep yourself in tune, up to date, and in the loop with what's happening here in the Fox River Valley and what's going on here on WRMN. Now, I am so excited here today. I am so grateful that I get the opportunity to have this interview. Get ready to laugh out loud as we welcome the incomparable Jen Kober. She's hailing from Lake Charles, Louisiana. She's taken the comedy world by storm with her dynamic blend of stand-up, storytelling, and improvisation. She has graced the screen in fan-favorite shows like The Mandalorian, Hacks, American Horror Story, which I have seen her in, and also Curb Your Enthusiasm. Please welcome, we've got Miss Jen Kober here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I am so glad that you were able to come on to WRMN here, local Elgin radio station. Thanks so much for doing this.
This is super cool. I thought I was doing radio or I had to put on like a real shirt.
Hey, you look fantastic. I'm so excited to be doing this interview with you. Thanks again.
Of course.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in starting in the comedy field.
Look, I was a chatterbox kid. I talked and talked and talked, and all the teachers did was try to get me to shut up and sit down so that they could teach. Mm-hmm. And eventually I got a teacher that was like, make your mess your message, you know what I mean? And just got me into drama and into speaking. I competed in speech in high school and got to compete nationally doing all of that. And so because people encouraged me to sort of use my powers for good, I was able to turn it into something, like a stand-up career.
I love it. That's fantastic. Now, your comedy style is bold, it's raw, it's hilarious. And tell us a little bit here, too, that, storytelling does play a big part in your stand-up. So what inspires the stories that you tell on stage, and how do you decide which personal moments are the stage-worthy ones?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the moments that are stage-worthy are the moments that make me laugh, or moments where there's a really big shift, right? Something terrible is happening, and all of a sudden one person says something, or some small things happens, or a sound goes off, and the whole thing shifts. The whole thing changes. It does a 180, and all of a sudden everybody's laughing. So I love those sort of moments. I love talking about my family. My grandmother was a storyteller and always would sit me down to tell me these elaborate stories, and they took 17 left turns and we never ended up where we started. And I didn't, understand so many of them, but it really is the way that I talk. So I'm used to sort of just telling a bigger story, and within the story are all these funny little moments. But I'm concerned about you getting this. What happens is I get off on tangents. I mean, like I'm doing now. So I start saying something, and then I'm like, oh, wait, let me say this, let me say this, let me say this, let me say this. And I'm like, oh, wait, this was originally a story about my grandma, remember? And then we go back to it. So yeah. I'm just partial to that sort of way of speaking. And so it's natural for that to be what my stand-up is.
Absolutely. But that makes it more personable. It makes it unique. And that's important in the world of comedy, is to be unique.
Well, it is with so many comedians. I can't believe how many new and up-and-coming comedians there are in the world. Like, why would you pick this as a profession? But there's so many more money-making things you could be doing in the world today. But I get it. It's a calling. It's something you feel like you have to get out there and do, or it is for me at least. And so to be able to do it and get paid to do it, I'm all in. I'm all in.
I love it. Tell us a little bit here. So you've performed all over the country. That's amazing. What city or venue has surprised you the most in terms of audience energy or reaction?
I just did a show in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know how it was going to go. The 4 days before, we had sold 12 tickets. It's a 700-seat venue. I was like, oh dear God, is it going to be me and the wait staff? And when we got there, it was full. It was packed. And it makes me laugh because comedy is like a last minute selling sort of event, right? It's one of those, your friend calls you and is like, come on, we got tickets to the comedy show. Let's go. You don't make plans days in advance to go to a comedy show unless you're going to see somebody very, very big and very, very popular. And while I like to think of myself as very big and very popular, I realize it's a last minute purchase for many of us. But I love when people do that. So the venue filled up by the time I got there. So it's a packed show, and they were loved. Like, they got it. You know what I mean? I talk a lot of more progressive, fun, out there ideas. I think out of the box, and so my act tends to appeal to people who also think outside of the box, which I didn't think I was going to find a lot of in Birmingham, Alabama.
Of all places, yep.
I did. It was fantastic. It really surprised me. I was like, look at me having a killer show in the middle of God's country.
Exactly. It was an interesting surprise.
It was super fun. It was a very diverse crowd. It was old people, young people, black, white, Asian, Mexican. I was amazed at how incredibly diverse and fantastically fun that show was. So
that's awesome.
Go Alabama. You will never hear someone from Louisiana say that until right now.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Now you are set to perform here in Aurora. It is the Copley Theater. What can fans expect from your show there? Any surprises in store?
Well, I do have a lot of new stories. I have been traveling the world. I just started doing comedy in other countries, and man, has that been eye-opening and fun. I took my mom with me to Europe, and the stories about that trip are pretty phenomenal and funny. So I just encourage anyone that needs a laugh, who wants to sort of forget the world and just come sit for an hour and belly laugh until your face hurts, to come on out and get a ticket and make sure you are there. We have a good time. I'm not doing anything terribly political. I'm not doing anything terribly raunchy. I'm not doing it, it's just funny. You're just going to leave there hitting your knee and laughing and having a good time, because that's what I want to do. This is an hour that I have to spend as well. And I want us to all feel good and come together and just laugh.
Yep.
So if that's what you're ready to do, make some plans, get a ticket, and come on down.
Absolutely. Fun. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit here. Now, I want to go in a little bit more of the acting side of things. You've had roles in shows like The Mandalorian, The Righteous Gemstones. I saw you in American Horror Story. You were the bartender at the Muse, I think it was called.
Yeah, I was the manager.
The manager. Yes. Yeah, very cool. I very much remember that. So how do you approach acting versus stand-up? Are the two worlds very different for you?
I think they're very different in what they are, right? When I'm acting, I have to join an ensemble. It's not just me, it's other people. It's sort of about reacting to what I'm being given, the situation, making it all sort of believable. Now, that is a lot of what I'm doing on stage as well. I'm just doing it by myself. So I don't have to worry about if someone else is giving me enough, or if someone else is making the scene as realistic as I am. I only have to worry about myself. So it's fun in that way. I do have to feed off the audience. I do have to sort of read the crowd. I do have to do a lot of the same skills that I'm using when I'm acting. But to be honest, it's what I love about acting, is that there are other people there doing it with me, that we all have this sort of uber goal to get to, and we get to go there together. And I tend to work with incredibly talented people when I'm on shows with, Larry David and John Goodman and, incredible actors. I mean, the list of names that I have been on screen with: Robert De Niro, Melissa Leo. These are Oscar-winning people, and I'm getting to act with them, and it's incredible. It is really, really incredible. It helps me become better because I'm, working with people that are way above my level, and it helps me level up, and it helps me have an appreciation for what this entire industry and art form kind of can be at its very best.
Absolutely. You get so much experience out there with so many great people who have had so much experience. And I think that just going along the journey is just, it's amazing. I'm sure it's just been such a great ride for you.
Well, sometimes I just pinch myself and I'm like, is this my life? I just did a show with Joanne Worley and Ann Jillian. Like 12-year-old me was having a cow. What is happening right now? Is this real? If you had told this to me when I was in 6th grade, I wouldn't have believed you.
Right. Oh, I know. It's like, is this a dream? Where am I?
Yeah. This is my surreal life. It's fantastic. So awesome. I'm really lucky, and I feel very grateful to all the powers that be that make this crazy world keep going.
Absolutely. So do you ever get nervous before a performance, and how do you kind of handle any of those nerves if you do have them?
I get that question a lot. When I was first doing it, right, probably the first 10 years, I got nervous before every show. Now there's just too many shows to get nervous about, right? Like, it's like baseball players. I'm sure once they sort of get in the rhythm of it, there's so many baseball games, you can't get too crazy about one. Right. So I don't feel like I get nervous before every show. I do get nervous before shows that are being taped, because that's gonna now that we have the video and digital things last forever. So I'm like, but when I do get nervous, I feel like most of my nerves are about, oh man, I hope I remember to say everything the right way. You don't want to get tripped up on your words. You don't want to say the order of how I say things is very important. And if I say something in a moment that comes up organically, but I say it too soon, or I don't say the other thing I needed to say before, it messes up sort of the tags that happen at the end, because everything is so interconnected. So the nerves that I get before something's being taped are about that. It's about, will I remember this in the right order and say the right exact words and not get tongue tripped because I'm so excited. Sometimes when I get excited, I start talking real fast.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I've been there before too. Yep.
Right. So sometimes that's what the nerves do to me. But I'm very lucky that my nerves at this point in the game are really under control and only help me be better instead of laying everything out as a catastrophe.
Absolutely. Now, you've built a loyal following with your unique voice, of course, and unapologetic humor. So what advice would you give to up-and-coming comedians who are still trying to find their voice?
I would say comedy is a muscle. You've got to work it out. So you've just got to get up on every stage that will let you get up, tell jokes in front of anyone who will sit there and listen, at the bus stop, at school, in a church meeting, over a phone call. Anyone who will listen to you sort of work out your thoughts verbally, and to just keep looking for it. There's things that you're angry about, so maybe your voice tends to lean more to angry. Are you just a sort of observational comedian who like a Seinfeld, who's not terribly edgy but very well cleverly written things that come across as sort of an everyman problem? Are you somebody loud and energetic who is doing a lot of physical things? The only way to find that out is to get up and do it, to do it every way you can think to do it, and to find what sort of niche within that broader spectrum that you're going to follow. And once you do that, nobody can take that from you. Nobody can copy that. It's you. Yep. So you've just got to find out who you are. And I know a lot of comedians who they are on stage is not necessarily who they are in life, and vice versa. So you've got to find what works for you on stage, because that's the persona that is paying the bills.
Yep, Absolutely. Now, you've got your tour underway, of course, new audiences discovering your work. So what's next for you? Any upcoming projects that you're especially excited about?
Yes, I am on season 2 of Ted on Peacock, the talking teddy bear.
Oh, I love it. Yes, yes.
It was incredible. I got to work with Seth MacFarlane for 2 weeks of my life. It was phenomenal. He is, just to be inside of his brain, I would kill. It was amazing. He's fantastic, and I got to work with Alana Ubach and so many of the supporting cast that was in those episodes with me. So it was an amazing, amazing fun time, and that season is coming out very soon. I just made a movie that I'm not supposed to talk about, but it's super cool. And you guys aren't going to believe what I'm doing in the movie. It's just funny and brash and amazing. So a lot of big things in the works. I've got a sitcom that I'm trying to develop that I wrote with my writing partner Jeffrey J. And so there's lots of fun, new, exciting next moves. And then of course I'm on a world tour right now with my One Hick Wonder show that I'm bringing to Aurora. So get a chance to see it live right there in front of you before it hits the world stage.
Absolutely. I love it. Folks, check out more information at events.paramountaurora.com. If you go onto their website, you can check it out. Presented in the Copley Theater. Tickets are available right now. You don't want to miss out on this knee-slapping, fun comedy event with the one and only Jen Kober. Thank you so much for joining us today here on Out to Lunch with WRMN. Greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing the show. It's going to be great.
I can't wait. Make sure you stop backstage and say hi.
I will for sure. Thanks again, Jen. All right, this does wrap it up here for this interview for Out to Lunch with WRMN. We'll be back with more in just a bit. Stay tuned.